What's up, everyone? This is Anna Rumor here with PopCulture.com, and I am here with the star of Discovery's brand new show, Undercover Billionaire, Glenn Stearns. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, good. Well, so you're obviously a wildly successful businessman, and you are taking on this crazy new challenge to turn $100 into $1 million business at the end of 90 days. What have you gotten yourself into, and why?
Well, it's funny you asked that because it seemed like a good idea at the time, right? My wife probably called it more of a midlife crisis than anything, but I thought this would be cool to kind of test myself and see, could I really do it again? Is it something that, was luck before, or is it possible that, I have what it takes to do it from nothing? And when I got in the middle of it, did I realize what in the world was I thinking? Like, this is insane and crazy. And yeah, there's a lot of pain. And it was definitely something that tested me.
Yeah, well, and you kind of referenced this a little bit. You have an amazing rags to riches story in the first place. How did you find so much success through some really tough things in life, and what has that taught you as a business person?
So I grew up in, a time, I was dyslexic. My parents struggled with alcohol and drugs. My mom was a grocery checker and cleaned houses. My dad was a printer. I failed fourth grade, and then I had a child when I was in the eighth grade at 14. So life wasn't exactly, stellar in the beginning. But what I learned was about adversity and how, every time I went through something, the pain and every part of the, negative aspects of it actually helped me because I realized that I could get through it. I became more resilient, stronger. And so when it comes to business, that adversity really was a great, kind of a prep for me and a great teacher that, all you do in business is problem solve, and it's about bringing people together. And so if you can motivate people and get them to believe in your cause, and then understand that every day is going to be just a day to solve problems, you'll get through it, and everything will be fine. If I hadn't gone through all that adversity, I might cower in the corner and, and kind of wait for, everything to explode. But luckily I had a life that was a little different than most. So it worked out for me.
Going into a place where, you don't have your money, you don't even have your name, you don't have your contacts, kind of going back to square one, what was that like so many years later?
I've never been one that really had an attachment to a lot of things. So, I look back on life, some of my best memories are when I slept on the floor for a year when I first got out of college. And, I was a waiter and in the mortgage business, but, it was just fun. I didn't need a lot of things. And so, I haven't been attached to those things. And so, I kind of went back at it with, the fact that, life doesn't need to really be something where you're surrounded by these great things. Sure, they're very nice, but I think money really magnifies who you are, right? If you're kind of a miserable person, I think you'll be more miserable with money. And if you're a happy person, hopefully you can share the joy with other people, and you can even, hopefully even be a little happier maybe. But it was fine to kind of strip myself of all those crazy things. But after, in the middle, while I was going through all this craziness, I thought, gosh, I'd rather be on my boat right now. Why am I doing this? This is insane. So
Yeah, I can imagine, because I've seen a little bit of the show, and it looks like, you're sleeping in this old truck. I won't spoil anything, but you're going through some serious hard times. Was there a point where you were like, oh gosh, like this isn't going to work out, I'm not going to be able to do it?
yes, absolutely. And what I found,
Mhm.
being an entrepreneur, being someone that has gone through a lot of struggles in business, is that, you know, those are the times that make you. And when you think there's no way out, when you know that you have exercised every option you have, that's the time you buckle down and really start, working it, finding, every person you can to help get involved, and you rally your team. It's not the time to give up. And so I think, as they say, no is, really the opening of a conversation. It's not the closing of it. And so, I've just learned to just keep beating my head and keep getting the no's until you finally get a yes. And there was definitely many, many times where I thought, I am not going to figure my way out of this one. And then I go back to my life and go, I've always said that, and somehow I figure it out, And so there's no shortage of pain, suffering, agony in this 90 days, that's for sure.
Well, and one of the most interesting parts of the show to me is, bringing on this team that has no idea who you are. They're people who are really just willing to invest in your alter ego's idea and work really hard for you. How is it to work with these people and kind of have this secret and know that at the end of the day, this was really going to pay off for them regardless?
Yeah. What I found was, they say, when, if you need something done, give it to a busy person. And so I went and found other people that had taken chances, that maybe were starting new companies or were just getting out of a big corporation to go try to do something new. And I wanted those type of people around me. And so I built a team, and they were very positive people. And every single one of them, I asked them to do things that they had not done before, things that were beyond their skill set. And what I've loved about that, and in the past, my whole life, business, is when people do things that they didn't even know they could do, they get this sense of pride and this feeling of accomplishment, and then they're able to even do more. And so it's that ability to really hopefully motivate them enough to where the whole team is going to do something that they thought was impossible. And I was explaining to them that I'm here because I am 55. I did go through some health issues, but now I want to, I don't want to have things left undone. And I had an idea of starting a business. All that was true. I just didn't tell them I'd already done it before, right? And so, and I wanted them to, and the cover of it was called The American Dream. So I wanted to create some jobs in Erie and try to do something big. And Erie is a wonderful city because of the fact that, it's been beaten down, yet they're resilient. They get back up. They all support hyper local places like the local coffee shops and grocery stores and hardware stores. They don't really go for the big chains as much. And and so when you see that everyone's trying to help each other out, that they become, it's a wonderful city to have this done in. And I didn't even get to pick it. I mean, Discovery picked it. I didn't know where else, but it became wonderful to watch people achieve goals they never thought they could achieve.
Well, and you had some serious dedication too. Were you kind of surprised at how willing these people were to really throw everything into your idea and into your business plan?
Yes. I mean, I definitely was hoping that would happen. But what I've learned in life is, I mean, you got to get up earlier. You have to work harder. You have to stay later if you're going to motivate people, because they all look at you for, you're the leader, and they need to see at what tempo you set. And so, I said, look, I really could use your help, and I'm really, I believe in you, and I think we can do something great in your city. And so this is what we need to do. And then I would just go at it again, longer, harder, stronger. And then that would get them to, pick up their game. And I think sometimes when we get around people that are better at us, and I'm not saying I was better, but I'm saying I worked harder, longer.
Right.
And, if you play tennis or whatever with someone better, you up your game. So, I just basically, knew that I needed to focus longer and harder, and that got them to do it. And then, we began to have some pretty incredible things happen, along with a lot of failure, by the way. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Life is not a straight line, that's for sure.
Well, and so going in with a game plan and then, realizing how truly difficult this was going to be the second time around, What kind of adjustments were you making as you were going along in those 90 days, either mentally or more practically?
Yeah, I had to um, figure out, really how there's one thing that I've always done is, just don't give up, right? But at the same time, you got to know when to pivot. You got to know when to move. And that's it's a slippery slope because pivoting doesn't mean giving up, right? You just have to change some of your techniques and things. And so I found, that in the middle of everything we were doing, I just had to understand where am I, and how much is my timeline, and can I work backwards on will I be able to accomplish the goal, and then push and just grow and try to do it where I didn't lose the team because they thought I was absolutely insane, which by the way they did. But
Yeah.
there was just something in wanting to get it done so bad, and transferring that, um, that kind of excitement onto them, that they bought into it, and they were really a wonderful team that wanted to see this succeed as much as I did. So.
Mhm. Well, and then in this time where, people are kind of questioning if the American dream exists or if it's changed, what is it nowadays? What do you think that this show kind of teaches about that?
Well, I mean, I've traveled all over the world, and you see other people in countries that do not have the opportunities that we have, and it's really interesting when, you hear some of the rhetoric here, and so I've always said, we live in the greatest country where there is so much opportunity, and
Mhm.
matter of fact, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. I'll go back in
Right.
time, and I'll do all this. It's not for the
Mhm.
money. It's my reputation is worth more than any money in the world, and I'll lay it all on the line to see if I can do this again. And so
Mhm.
by, you know, showing other people that it is okay to try when you're 55 years old, and not, again, when we're young, we have nothing to lose, so we can risk it all. When we're older,
Mhm.
we think we don't want to risk anything because we have a lot to lose. And
Right.
yet I think that's a probably a poor way to look at life, because when we risk, and we grow, right? Because we learn from mistakes, and we go through pain, and we go through triumph, and we have emotion that makes us feel better about ourselves a lot of times. So I think that when you get older, don't have regrets, go for it. And again, it could just mean going to get a job promotion. It doesn't have to mean building $1 million business, right? Or maybe
Right.
it means you do want to leave your business and you do want to try
Mhm.
something different. But don't do things based on fear, and that's the one thing that I think a lot of us do, is they allow fear to be our God and run our lives, when really we should, look at new experiences and the unknown with excitement. We shouldn't look at it with fear and, oh my God, this could ruin me. We got to look at it like, what is this going to teach me? What am I going to be able to do? And and if we can do that, I think we can accomplish a lot more.
Yeah, you only live once.
YOLO. Yeah, I
And
got that shit.
so, walking away from this experiment, I know you can't really tell us what happened yet, but what have you taken away as a business person? I mean, you already figured it out, but is there some kind of new nugget of information you figured out through this experiment?
Well, a part of this, remember, $100, and then I've got to figure out how to make it worth a lot of money. Well, that first part of surviving is harder than I remember. And there's a lot
Mhm.
of people out there that live hand to mouth, that live paycheck to paycheck, and it's hard to catch a break. And
Yeah.
so, I was really, I think, humbled by the fact that there's so many people trying every day, and so that brought me back to kind of center. Once I was fortunate enough to get over that and then move on to kind of a thriving mode, and moving forward, I was really amazed at the human spirit, people that really want to, um, they end up wanting to do something, and they're afraid, but they go for it. And so, when that happens, just the joy it brings people and the sense of pride that comes. And so I really think people need to take more chances in life, and they need to be able to live their life without regrets, and just enjoy what happens, and then own who you are, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that we are really excited to see how it goes for you. I'm hoping it goes well. And so thank you for talking with us and giving us a little preview before everything kicks off.
I enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
so much. And guys, do not forget to tune in. Undercover Billionaire is premiering on Discovery Tuesday, August 6th at 10 p.m. Eastern. So don't miss it. I'm Anna Rumor with popculture.com, and I'm not going to miss it, so you shouldn't either.